Grassroots Chiropractor. We're going to actually show you all what a first time consultation and adjustment and everything looks like today here in just a minute. A couple of quick questions. When is a good time for a person to come in?
See everything from headaches, tinnitus, plantar fasciitis. Like, it's not just low back pain. First timers, everything from newborn babies to people in their 60s. So,
so you advertise as holistic. So talk a little bit about that. I mean, that was one we hadn't really talked about before.
Okay. Holistic is definitely a word that people misunderstand. It really just is more of, instead of focusing on one system or one body part, we're like zooming out, looking at how everything affects everything else. Like, for instance, if you have a bunch of inflammation in your joints, is it coming from like a gut issue or something else? Or even like, we talked about earlier, if you've got shoulder issues, it could be causing headaches, something like that. So we try to look at full body, full spine, everything to see like what is contributing to something. And that includes, sometimes we're talking about, what's your diet like? Are you getting enough nutrients? Are you getting the right nutrients? Are you able to regulate stress well?
Last question. This one's a personal question. Does popping your knuckles cause arthritis?
Okay, so that's kind of a loaded question, and if you ask probably 10 different chiropractors that have a different answer. In my personal opinion, you'd have to do a long-term study. You're not gonna get big, knotted up, nasty, like RA knuckles from popping knuckles. I do it all the time. All you're doing is releasing a gas bubble from a joint that hasn't moved through its full range of motion. So it can depend on the person. If you've got pretty hypermobile joints, you may be more likely to overstretch the ligaments, and when those get overstretched, sometimes that can cause inflammation. But I pop my knuckles and I don't have currently arthritis in my hands, so I am typically in the camp of I think it's safe to pop your knuckles. You'll live. Yeah. Low back seems to be the biggest issue.
Lower back has been mainly for a while, but my neck the last few years, after that last motorcycle work I had.
What about the numbness on here? Where you get numbness?
That's just like like the other night I was sitting there and it's.
So pretty much sleeping on your sides. Are you like got an arm tucked under, or what are you doing with?
Usually, I toss and turn quite a bit.
Too, but I recommend, like, most of my patients recommend them taking some kind of magnesium at night. Okay. So when does the low back seem to bother you the most?
If I've been sitting for a while.
Okay.
Certain.
Anything like radiate down from that? You ever get like pain in the legs after sitting, or like numbness, tingling, anything? Okay. So the neck is usually pretty tight. Some sore with like occasional headaches.
Yeah.
Low back's mostly achy, nothing sharp usually. Okay. And you said it's more, I feel like low back's more on the right side that bothers you, you lean away from it. What about like knees and ankles and stuff? Did you ever do like physical therapy for any of that? Does it hurt? And how often you have to take like Tylenol? We're just gonna check like top to bottom and check out like range of motion and stuff, and have a hard time getting back to sleep. You ever had, so do you get massages ever?
No.
Okay. What about like, you ever had cupping done? What about, so no like acupuncture or anything like that? Okay. So first we're gonna do some like muscle tests. I'm gonna sit up straight and hold your arms out like this. I'm gonna push down on you, resist me pushing down. I'm gonna check for any pain doing that or weakness. Okay. Hold your arms like this and pull them towards me. Don't let me pull them. That makes my with you. Go and lift that up. Pain, low back, anywhere doing that. And then kick your leg out against me here. And then pull back towards you on this side. Go and lift that up. Kick out again. And pull back towards you. On your head, let me know if there's any pain, neck, shoulders, low back, anywhere. Any pain when I do that? Okay, we're gonna tilt to the side and push. What about there? Let me know if there's any pain, low back, knees, hips, anywhere where we do this. Pretty decent range of motion. Feels okay?
Like back.
Come in here. Okay. Up there. Okay, go ahead and flip over to bend. Any pain, discomfort, anywhere come in here?
No.
Okay. What about do just the left leg?
No.
Okay, we're gonna roll this in. And same thing with the knees. This spot usually causes a lot of issues because your hamstring's attached like right in here.
Okay.
So if that hip is shifted to one side or tight and not hinging well, then a lot of times that'll put pressure on the knees, just because if this side's tight, then it's going to cause tension at the other attachment. Decent movement though, like we've got a little bit of spring. That right side may be like a tiny bit restricted. Is it tender on either side? Tender.
No, not really tender.
Pretty stiff though.
Yeah, I can feel a little tight.
I think it's pretty stiff all the way up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first, just to kind of get these muscles loosened up, is the part of the table where your legs are, just gonna slowly start kind of flexing up and down.
That's weird.
Definitely taking a decent amount of naps on this thing.
I bet that's kind of good.
And sometimes I'll like stick some cups on while this is moving, so it'll kind of create some glide in between the tissue. But a lot of times I'll just kind of manually stretch it out. No pain with any of that? Okay. The right side is definitely moving a little bit less than the left. So now for your pelvis, what I'm going to use is something called a drop table. So this thing's going to pop up. I'm going to push on a certain spot, and then I'll show you what it feels like at first. It's just kind of startling the first time. The table's going to drop like that.
Okay.
So we use that to just be like more specific with the directions that the pelvis moves, because the joints can move in a lot of different ways.
Right.
And for instance, like this right side's stuck up like this, and then the sacrum, the bone in the middle, is kind of tilted just from the way you like kind of rotate to sit in the chair.
Right.
It's jamming up against that. So we're gonna do a couple of these drops just to kind of full release. So you're gonna keep the bottom leg straight. I'm gonna bend this one up. Let's see how this feels. Roll this shoulder back, and don't worry, I'm not gonna drop you. Any pain getting here? Okay. Alright, now you lay other side facing that way.
It's done in a couple positions. Oh, wow.
Okay. Alright, now go ahead and lay on your back. So I'm gonna do cross your arms like this. And it kind of helps me. I'm gonna go like a little bit tighter here so I don't, but kind of again. So move it like this. Just relax. Right from there.
Oh, wow.
So shoulders, what I'm looking at back here, is like how they're laying flat on the table, and this left side is like a little bit higher up than the right, and usually that's coming from like tension in the front of the shoulder. Either if you can use my little adjustment tool, it's kind of like a little spring loaded mechanism that does like a quick impulse. A lot of people use it like just to adjust. It kind of recreates what's happening at the joint without having to get like a full range of motion. But I also use it a lot of times for like just kind of muscle restriction in the area. So I can do a little bit up this side of the neck. Maybe a little bit under. A lot of neck issues come from bad shoulder mechanics. We have to like sneak up on some of these neck muscles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't want to tilt very well. To kind of work into this guy. Okay, let's go ahead and sit you up. Might get a little head rush on the way up just from getting some blood flowing.
Yeah. Wow.
Everything moved pretty well, honestly. Like, nothing was crazy locked up. Maybe a little sore, like a low back, maybe a little achy.
Okay, so here's a little update. It's been about, I don't know, 48 hours or so since the adjustment. And I gotta say, my back's feeling pretty good. A lot better than it has in a long time. Neck's still a little stiff. I get a lot more movement out of it, I will say that for sure. And whenever I move it, I don't get the soreness like I did before, which is really cool. But like she said, my neck was pretty messed up, so there's a good chance that I'll have to do a couple adjustments there. But overall, awesome experience. Dr. Lofton is just amazing. She's got great bedside manner. She's fun to talk to, and she really knows her stuff. So I really suggest if you have any kind of back pain, neck pain, hip pain, any kind of trouble, actually, I mean, she's got all kinds of stuff she covers, like she said. So go talk to her.
Go do it again, over.